Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of October 28th through November 3rd of 2024. All right, so this week we do have quite a bit to talk about astrologically, but most important thing is that we are ending the current lunar month. We're going to have a new moon on Friday, which will be a whole new beginning here for new intentions, new seeds starting to get planted, and really now coming out of what has likely been a very transformative month, with this being an eclipse month. But this week, at the beginning of the week, we have Mars trining Neptune, maybe a bit of flow, maybe feeling a bit of flow with how we're going about things. Venus will be squaring Saturn there though, so maybe some things to be patient with regarding some of our enjoyments and relationships. Speaking of which, we have Venus going into Ophiuchus, so things maybe going into the more healing world when it comes to those relationships, and maybe starting to enjoy actually some of that healing energy. In fact, all week we've got Jupiter sextiling Chiron, which is just an opening for healing. This could be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, but there is likely at least a lot to learn about the different areas that we can heal in our life. Also midweek, Mercury will be opposite Uranus, so a bit of spontaneity, getting outside of that comfort zone a little bit, and also noticing a little bit of flow there going into the middle part of the week as well, with that Mercury trining up to Neptune. And then the week ends here with quite a bit going on. Most importantly, I would say, is that Mars is going to be opposite Pluto on Saturday. This can give us some insights in regards to what has been going on the past year regarding where we can really assert ourselves and maybe reclaim our power in some way. And so maybe some shifts and changes with reclaiming power and asserting and expressing ourselves in healthy and constructive ways. All right, so there's a lot to talk about. Let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, October 28th. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. You won't hear mainstream talking about these different constellations like Ophiuchus, and certainly not using the actual size of the constellations, because the constellations are different sizes. And so the placements are different. For example, I'm saying this new moon is in Virgo. You might actually be hearing it being in Scorpio, actually. So if you notice that sign change, definitely check out that link down below for more information on using the visible sky, called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so let's go ahead and do a recap coming into this week, because we did recently have some sign changes. So we've got the sun finishing Virgo this week. We'll be finishing Virgo all week. So very early next week, around Monday, we'll start to shift into Libra. That means that we are having the new moon on Friday in Virgo. It's going to be the second one in Virgo, because again, Virgo is a large constellation, so it's quite common for this to happen. But as you can see, it's right in between both Virgo and Libra, so there will definitely be that shift of energy there. But still this week, great to be focused on Virgo things, as really has been this whole lunar month, having the eclipse in Virgo, the solar eclipse in Virgo, that really started this whole month, which is about improvement. It's about healthy improvements. It's about healthy work, healthy doing, healthy day-to-day activities, healthy perfection, improvement, refinement, all these energies that deal with creating healthy structure in our life and the qualities that come out of that. So of course, still good to set intentions, but what I would say is as we approach Friday, as we're ending this lunar month, really starting to close out what we've already been sort of involved with here for this month. Again, these healthy qualities that we can be incorporating here, and starting a new beginning around these things, along with some Libra things we'll talk about here in just a few minutes. But Mercury is in Libra, so our minds are on the scales, which essentially represents balance. And so it's a great time to be thinking in the context of more balance in our life, and then also communicating this way as well, as Mercury does deal with our more kind of day-to-day social communicative energy, thinking and speaking and communicating in a way that can be very balanced, or let's say fair-minded and mutual and reciprocating. So there is certainly that Libra energy already in the mix coming into this week. Venus will be getting closer to Ophiuchus around midweek on Wednesday, but this part of the sky here, Scorpio and Ophiuchus, really is about the deeper world. We've been able to connect to that deeper world this past week or so with Venus here. And now maybe starting to get into some of that healing energy as well. So starting to, well, let's say continuing to see the value of depth, of truth, and of uncovering the deeper world about ourselves and our outer world and our relationships. And connecting to life and connecting to others in this way is still fantastic. And Mars has recently shifted into Cancer. So this week, when it comes to us asserting ourselves, good to do so in a very caring, nurturing, and protective way, okay? Mars, the fiery side of life, the masculine energy, is in protective, caring, and nurturing Cancer. So whatever it is that we're putting energy into, good to check in with the body, connect with ourselves and our emotions and feelings, and to connect with those that we do find emotional value in. So family-like relationships, those that are close to us on an emotional level, maybe literal family, but this kind of energy about really expressing ourselves and taking action in a way that's true to who and what is important to us on an emotional level in life. So that's certainly still in the mix this week as well. So all in all, we do have a lot of yin energy, you could say. We've got that protective Cancer energy, which is water, yin. We've got Virgo, which is improvement and refinement, also yin. We've got Scorpio, which is depth and truth, also yin. And then we do have some yang energy with Mercury here, which is that thinking in the sense of ideas and what's fair, right, and just, and all that kind of a thing. So a lot of different kinds of energies. All of the fast movers are in different signs, but that's how I would say is a good way of looking at it. So let's go and start here with Monday. As you can see, there is a lot of aspects going on. We don't need to go into all of these in such detail. That can, really confuse the energy. Again, the most important thing is that we are ending the current both Gregorian month of October and lunar month on the 1st, on Friday. And so as we do approach Friday, good to close things out. It's really a good early part of the week for finalization, completion, and creating space. I would say this is the most important way of working with the week. And it is the lower energy. We're approaching the lowest energy of the lunar month in the sense that, again, it is the reset for the month. That being said, there are some things that we can cultivate here. So on Monday, we've got that moon in Virgo already off the bat, setting the stage for that new moon. So that is this, again, completion in regards to specifically refinement, perfection, improvement, the things that we've been developed on that level for the past month. But Monday, we have Mars trining Neptune. And this is a good synergy between the fiery aspects of ourself and the spiritual or receptive aspects of ourselves. So we could notice a little bit of flow in our life, maybe a little bit more willingness to take it easy, to be a little bit more yin about things, a little bit more receptive, and a little more compassion, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more acceptance in general. So a nice harmony here between the fire and water energies. Now, along with this, Venus is squaring up to Saturn. When it comes to specifically our enjoyments and our relationships, there might be a little bit of restriction here, but it can be healthy restriction constructively. So in relationships, a bit of patience here around Monday, a bit of responsibility. And when it comes to the enjoyments of life, also that responsibility can go a long ways. We may tend to go to extremes with the squares, maybe too much friction, too much restriction when it comes to enjoyments and relationships, or not enough. And so we want to find that healthy balance there. And again, setting the intention to really think long term and really see the long view when it comes to those enjoyments and relationships. Tuesday, moon in Virgo. Wednesday, as we get closer to that ending phase of the cycle, Mercury will be opposite up to Uranus. This marks the sort of halfway point or 6-month point in regards to the Uranus energy that we've got for the year. And so great to be thinking in a way that's different and unorthodox, maybe Wednesday specifically, mixing up that routine, getting outside of our comfort zone a little bit. But good to do a status check, I would say. How have the past 6 months been going in the context of thinking outside the box, in the context of trying and doing things a little bit differently? And maybe there's some shifts that can happen here. There can also be some harvest, some things that maybe have been in the works the past 6 months in this context can be shifting and maybe coming to a bit of fruition on Wednesday. Again, in the theme of how we can induce a little bit more change and unorthodoxy and really freedom in our life when it comes to Uranus. Now, as we start to get into that Wednesday, Venus will start to shift into, let's say, get closer to Ophiuchus, as both Scorpio and Ophiuchus do share the same part of the sky. But getting closer to that leg of Ophiuchus does usually mean a shift towards not just the deeper world, but probably specifically in regards to healing. Now, healing can mean physical, it can mean spiritual, it can mean emotional and psychological, right? And so there's a lot of different ways of kind of connecting this way. So with Venus, it's good to see the value of this healing, to be willing to connect to that side of life. And also in our relationships, we will likely notice, many of us, opportunities to do more healing with them, or to literally heal with someone in the sense of like as a partnership, doing something jointly together that might involve healing. So any intentions around this, any willingness to not only dive deep, but also embrace and work with and accept the deeper dimensions of life, to either enjoy for ourselves or to do so in relationships, I think has been already great, but is especially good now that Venus is getting closer to Ophiuchus there. All right, and then as we do get into that Thursday, again, really starting to finalize the lunar month here. Nothing major, but that kind of flow that we were talking about earlier in the week with Mars and Neptune is still in effect here, and I would say it's involving maybe a little bit more of that how we're thinking about things. So Mercury trine Neptune, a little bit of a maybe wandering mind in a healthy way. I think it's good for imagination, it's good for intuition, it's good for having a little bit of flow in our day-to-day life. And so, yeah, a little bit more of that flow continuing into the ending of the month. So yeah, Friday, the reset, the new beginning, the new moon will be happening closer to Virgo, closer, still technically conjunct the feet of Virgo. But as you can see visually, it looks very much visually as the blend between both signs here. So I'm going to say that it's certainly both, okay? So with Virgo, it's about, again, still like a whole new reset to having healthy, again, improvement and day-to-day structure in our life and refinement and all that we've already been doing, but a new step with that, a new direction with that. But now with Libra, likely some themes coming up here in regards to, again, that balance. Now, balance in our own life. If there's any areas of our life that are out of balance, this is going to be a great month to bring those back into balance. Okay, and in relationships as well, there can be a lot of themes around Libra, not just our close relationships, but really how we're interacting with others. It can deal with business relationships, contractual things, really any kind of agreement whatsoever. And of course, yes, also the personal relationships too. So it's really going to be a great new moon, a great month to be setting this intention to really bring things back into fairness, bring things back into mutuality, healthy mutuality, to be willing to get into the dynamics of reaching that state, right? The dynamics of relationships, give and take, finding middle ground, all this kind of stuff. And so, yes, in our own personal life, bringing things back into balance, and in our relational life, doing the same as well. So great time to set new intentions with this, just slowly building momentum with this. And we'll notice definitely more themes around this as we go into the month, as the sun will go into Libra early next week there. All right, so that's the reset of the month. As we do get into Saturday, just as a whole kind of backdrop to the week, again, there are just some opportunities here for healing. It's nothing major with this, but just a lot being learned or available to be learned in that context with Jupiter sextile Chiron, which does go exact on Friday. But here on Friday, Mercury will be trining Mars, so it's really forming this grand trine between that Mars, Neptune, and Mercury. So noticing a little bit of that healthy, still receptive, which is good, but healthy sense of directness and assertiveness with those communications, and probably thinking in a way that's quite direct and fiery. So Mercury, all in all, being in good aspect this week, I would say it's generally a good week for, yes, thinking outside the box with that Uranus, but also a little bit of that flow, a little bit of that assertiveness, and a little bit of empowerment as well too, as this trine will be sextiling up to Pluto as well from the Mercury side. Okay, as we do get into Sunday, the end of the week here, perhaps the most important aspect of the week, obviously the most important thing is the new moon, but the most important aspect is happening over the weekend, going into its strongest energy on Sunday. And this is Mars, that fiery energy, opposite transformative Pluto. So this marks the halfway point of the Mars-Pluto cycle. A little over a year ago, we had this new beginning with how we can start to assert ourselves in a way that's self-empowering. It's assertive. It is really reclaiming our power. And so really doing a status check on this is great. Over the weekend, do a status check. How have the past, let's just say the past year, been going when it comes to doing things that are really important to us on a core level, right? How are our goals aligned to what's really important to us on a core level? How are we asserting ourselves in a way that is true to us and expressing ourselves in a way that's true to us, and doing this status check, because there's likely some things to be shifting here. Now, there's likely to also be some things that can be manifesting here. And I would say with a lot of oppositions this week, the Mercury opposite Uranus, Mars opposite Pluto, and then Venus opposite Jupiter on Sunday as well. Along with this Libra energy, oppositions are a lot like Libra energy. They deal a lot with relationships. So I think there's going to be a lot of relational developments going on this week for sure. And the opposition here with Pluto can really help us see that maybe there's some things that we can be more non-attached with on one level, right? We only have control over ourselves, right? When it comes to relationships, there could even be for some of us a bit of power dynamics or things like this, or some kind of thing where we might feel a little bit powerless, okay? But we can see that really we might just be giving our power away, right? Because true power is within, right? How we feel, how we develop, how we view life. These are all things we have control over, and these are all things that determine our well-being, right? Is within. But we tend to externalize that. We tend to make our happiness, our well-being dependent on externals. And this becomes very dangerous because we're not in control of external things. And so this is a reminder to see where have we been giving our power to externals, things outside of ourselves, which includes relationships as well, and reclaiming that power within. So anything that's like a status check with this around Sunday is fantastic, and very likely some positive changes in the right direction, maybe involving some of that relational stuff in regards to all these oppositions this week. But yeah, Venus will also be opposite Jupiter. This one's a little bit easier, but learning is, I would say, the main theme with this. Learning about relationships, learning about what we value, and getting a whole new perspective on this whole status check, bigger picture stuff in our life. And nice to see Venus trining up to Chiron there a little bit for some of that supportive healing. All right, so so that's the week in a nutshell. The moon, by the way, will be in Scorpio on Sunday, and so there is a bit of this deeper energy, but we just talked about that. All right, so doing a bit of a recap here. Most important thing is the new moon on the 1st, on Friday. A complete reset, let the energies die down, complete as we approach it, and then slowly see what's coming up, plant some new seeds, be a bit flexible going into next week. It's all in the context of really wrapping up a lot of this improvement and refinement energy of the last month with Virgo, and starting to now get into finding more balance in our personal and interpersonal lives. We've got a little bit of flow this week with some nice trines to Neptune, the grand trine between Mars and Mercury, giving us a bit of healthy fire and healthy assertiveness, at least earlier in the week, before the weekend. A little bit of patience, responsibility on Monday, perhaps. Again, thinking outside the box midweek can be helpful. And then after that new beginning on Friday with the new moon, I would say simply it's a good weekend for the status check on that empowerment, self-empowerment, and reclaiming that power, and perhaps making some shifts and changes there that can be supportive. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube, and we'll be going live here in just a little bit after this upload on YouTube for the live stream. If you're part of MTZ Insiders, you've got the direct link to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to the Mastering the Zodiac page and go to the live section, and there you'll see it. But yeah, we'll get into it. 30 minutes. We'll talk about the upcoming week in more detail. We'll also answer a lot of your questions and really see what the community has to say about how a lot of this energy is unfolding. So have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for the next weekly forecast. Take care.